Welcome to the Gainz, where we talk about all things health and fitness. I'm your host, Leah Messenger. Let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm here with Kenny. Kenny, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Former fat kid turned fitness enthusiast. I don't want to say I'm professional because, you got to be doing it for quite some time before you could consider yourself a professional. They say 15, 20 years. But I fell in love with fitness at around 13, 14 years old. I started to lose some weight playing sports, working out. And from there, I kind of just fell in love with it. Been on this journey ever since.
That's cool. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. So most people, if you're from the tri-state area, you know where it is. It's during the late 80s, early 90s, probably wasn't the best place to grow up, but, you make the best of your situation. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot living there. And then my family moved up to Montclair when I was Montclair, Cedar Grove area when I was 19, 20. Went to college at Montclair State. Wrestled all through high school and college, and then did some television work for a couple of years, and then found myself in the fitness industry around 28, 29. So it's been about a little over 10 years that I've been doing this.
Cool. As a kid, so you said you're former fat kid. So Did you play any sports in school?
So I always joke around because I have some friends who played minor league baseball or semi-pro baseball, and you could be fat and be a baseball player. You don't have to be in the best shape to be a baseball player. And I played baseball as a kid, and it's short little runs. You could be heavy and be a pitcher. For me, I played baseball, but I was fat. I was a first baseman. I played in grammar school, but I grew up in a very Italian household where, everything's pasta and pizza and
all
pastries.
The carbs.
Yep. All the carbs, all the sweets, all the cheese you could handle.
Yeah.
So for me, it's, my grandmother was one of these older women who just wanted me to shovel food down my throat and clean my plate and everybody else's. So I went into high school weighing about 240 pounds, 30 pounds, somewhere around there.
How tall are you?
Well, now I'm 6'2", but at the time I was probably 5'8".
Oh my goodness gracious! That's the Italian grandma was feeding you well.
Yeah,
clearly.
Feeding me very well. Yeah.
Did that cause any problems for you, with being self-conscious or uncomfortable in your own skin?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I think it still affects me to this day. I mean, I think it's my biggest fear. I think that's why I made fitness my job, is because, I actually just found a picture of me from 10 years ago. I had just been drinking a lot and eating shitty, right before I got into it. Yeah. And no, probably longer than that, probably 15 years ago. And I was just messy looking. But I hadn't gotten really heavy in a while. And I was just all right, I'm going to get a job working in a gym because that's the only way I could keep myself accountable. And selfishly, it was what I wanted to do for myself. And then it kind of came this passion project to help everyone else out as well.
That's so great though, that you can help other people, because of the struggles that you went through. I know a lot of fitness influencers who were what they would call a former fat kid. Because I think that motivates you later in life.
I think it makes you empathetic towards what other people struggle with and go through. When people say they're a good coach, it's I don't think you can be until you can really relate to what other people are going through. Yeah. And on either end of the spectrum, having a poor relationship with alcohol or drugs, it's you don't really need those. Food you need. So it's so easy to fall back into those traps. So when I meet people who are I struggle with my weight, blah, blah, I'm I hear you. I get it, because it's so easy to be all right, I'm just going to cheat this once because I'm hungry and it's all there is at this place and blah, blah, blah. And you start to eat shitty again, and one bad meal leads to 100 bad meals, and now you're back where you started. So
100%. Food is so easy. It's the easiest drug to be addicted to, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
exactly, and
And
it's
then,
such an easy coping mechanism, I think.
and there's so many people who, they start to have kids, and the kids are like, I want candy and shit like that. And you're like, all right, I'll have some too. Like I go home on the weekends to go see my niece and nephews. My brother's got kids. My sister has kids. And you're hanging out with them. They're eating fruit snacks and drinking, the little Capri Suns. And you're like, all right, I guess
Exactly.
I'll have one too. And now I just had like 700 calories of sugar.
Exactly, without even realizing it.
Exactly.
It's so easy to do that. So you said you were in TV,
Yeah.
and then did that like launch you into your fitness career, or did you ever expect to do television or fitness, or
I
did you
no, I never really planned on doing either. I went to school for art and design. I loved fitness since I was a kid.
Mhm.
I was always obsessed with, comic books and action movies and stuff, and seeing all these in wrestling, pro wrestling. So I saw these people who were larger than life. So I'm like, I'd really love to do that.
Who are your
Um,
role models?
Growing up,
Yeah,
I was always a Schwarzenegger fan. I love Arnold.
of course.
I loved Stallone. Obviously, he's an Italian guy
Mhm.
from the East Coast, and then Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior. I loved a lot of the villains. I loved the Ric Flairs and the Mr. Perfects. Like growing up watching these people, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like I watched these people as a kid. You're like, oh my god, that's what I need to do. I need to be a pro wrestler. And then as I grew up, I'm like, all right, I gotta. My parents were very blue collar. My dad was a cop. My mom worked for an insurance company.
Mhm.
So growing up, it was just like, go get a blue collar job. I'm like, but I want to go and be a wrestler. And it's like, yeah, you're an idiot. Shut up and go.
Yeah, like, that can never
So
happen, like, that's not real
yeah,
life type of thing.
yeah. And now it's like, for me, it's like if I ever have kids, I'm just gonna be like, you want to go be an astronaut? Go do it. It's so possible. I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing, and I love what I'm doing. I just opened up, a new gym.
Mhm.
I had a gym prior to this. I had one in New Jersey, and then I was running a big CrossFit gym here in the city. And now I officially opened my own spot with no partners. Right? It's just me. So
Oh,
I'm
that's so
doing
cool. What's
all
it
that.
called?
So it's called the Strength Club NYC.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we've been open a month now, and happy about the way things are going, and I want to continue doing what I'm doing. And it's like I enjoy it. Like I don't think of work as like a struggle. I haven't taken a day off in God 6 weeks maybe.
That's crazy, but it shows you love what you do.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have
So
Strong New York,
yep.
which
So
is
Strong New York is my kind of the parent company to it. It's an event I started about 5 years ago, um, just as like an outlet to kind of get my friends. I was traveling so much with like CrossFit, and I was going to the Idea conference, and I was going to Summer Strong, and I was going to all these different fitness events. And I'm like, man, we don't have one here in New York. I'm going to just put one on. So I started with a small event. We had like 50, 60 people in the basement gym that I used to work at. And then we slowly grew. The last one we did was December 2019, and we had over 500 people there.
that's so crazy.
Yeah, so it was very cool. So it was cool to watch it grow. And then I just wanted this brand. Like I said, I went to school for art and design. So I wanted to do a kind of a t-shirt line. And I thought Strong New York was a cool name. And I love New York, and I love the idea of, people getting stronger, not just physically, picking barbells up off the ground, but also mentally. And I think fitness and wellness does that for people, right? When you start believing yourself and you start focusing in on getting yourself better, you worry less about everyone else, right? You stop comparing yourself to other people. When you're like, well, I need to do this for me and I need to do that for me, it's not selfish, it's bettering yourself so that you can help other people become better.
Exactly, 100%. When I was personal training, I used to tell my clients, like, if you don't have a strong mind, you're not going to be able to create a strong body. So you have to make a strong mind first.
100% goes hand in hand.
Hmm. So Strong New York, you bring a lot of awareness to like mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit more
Yeah,
about
yeah. So I just actually left. So I work pretty closely with the Movember Foundation.
that.
A couple of years ago, we did a Strong New York, and we donated $12,000 to the Movember Foundation. And we've been working with them ever since. That's why I'm growing out this mustache. I was just at an event for them. We got another event on Thursday night. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be learned about it, especially after the pandemic and people being alone, cooped up in their homes. You know, we are tribal animals and we're social animals, and we need to be around other people. And when you take that away from us, you start to realize how much we need it. So you know, kind of just getting people to understand that it's okay to want to be around other people. That's what we're meant to do. And you know, you got to focus in on yourself. You got to be mentally strong to do anything in life. Aside from, you know, the mental aspect, it's the health aspect of it. My dad had passed away in 2019 of dementia and Alzheimer's, so that's a big focus of the Movember Foundation.
That's great.
uh, Alzheimer's and yeah, and dementia. And you know, we don't fully understand how it happens. And you know, my grandmother had it, my dad had it, so it's obviously a concern of mine.
Yeah.
And uh, it's one of those diseases where it's just so hard to deal with for everyone else. Not so much for the person who has it, but for everyone else around them, because you know, they don't know who you are. You can't communicate with them as well. I watched a documentary on a musician who had dementia and well into his 70s, and it was cool to see that, you know, he didn't know what the hell was going on off stage, but on stage he would like remember all the lyrics to the song and be able to play the guitar.
That's
And
insane.
yeah, so it's so cool. It's cool to understand how the mind works. um, so I tell people, you know, kind of use it as much as you can. The brain is a muscle like any other muscle in your body. You got to keep training it, you got to keep it going. um, One of the ways you keep it going is through socializing with people. You know, they say the healthiest, happiest people.
Oh, hold on, I'm losing you. Whoop, you're frozen. No.
Hello, did I lose you?
Okay, there. Now you're not frozen.
uh,
What were you saying?
no, so I was just saying that the brain is like a muscle, like any other muscle in your body, and you know, you need to train it. One of the ways to train it is to be around other people, to socialize, to uh, you know, stimulate the brain as much as possible, because you know, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly. I know dementia and Alzheimer's runs in my family as well, so I've like dealt with that a lot with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's not that much research out on it, but I've also like a lot of things I've read is just like mental fitness, like doing Sudoku or like puzzles and stuff like that to keep your brain like going all the time. So you like it's like your brain is a muscle. And so it's not only like strong mind, like just in like emotional aspects, but like literally
Yeah,
building a strong mind by like doing games and stuff. It's like going to the gym, but like for your brain.
exactly. And you know, there's so many studies out that people who live the best lives aren't the ones who are the richest ones or have the most opportunity in life. It's the ones who have the best relationships. So creating great relationships keeps your mind healthy and your mind strong. So I tell people, like, mental, emotional, and communal strength is like kind of what I preach. I tell people, you know, everybody's always like, you always have random people around you. I'm like, I just want to be around as many people as I can all the time.
Yeah,
I think it's good for everyone. I think loneliness causes people to do crazy, weird shit. And, you know, if you show somebody you give a shit and you care about them and they feel like they have an outlet, then there's less animosity in the world.
100%. I definitely agree that community can like literally keep you alive longer and make your health better. Like loneliness is like a silent killer.
Yeah, yeah. I say all the time, you know, like I kind of been around CrossFit for a long time now, and the one thing, you meet the best athletes in the world or the people who just started, and everybody agrees that the best thing about CrossFit is the community. You know, and you know, there's something to be said about that. Like, people really appreciate that. I think people come to lose weight but stay for the community.
Exactly. There's such a strong sense of community in CrossFit. I don't do CrossFit, but I've noticed that there's such like a strong community.
Well, I think in the gym too, it's like, like I said, I've been in and out of gym since I was 30. And the gyms that I miss the most are the ones that I had like the best communities at,
Mhm.
where where I got to meet the most people and hang out with people the most.
Do you have anything
Yeah,
exciting coming up with Strong New York?
yes, trying to figure out when the best time to plan a big event would be. I want to do another Strong New York event. Obviously, as they loosen up the reins on some of this, some of the COVID stuff happening,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's going to allow me to do another event.
Exactly.
So if and when I do it, obviously Gainz Box is going to be one of the first people I call to start sending out some cool stuff to some of the people that we're going to have come there. And then you guys, yeah. So, and I loved the box last year. Like last year was such a cool experience getting to do that with you guys.
I was going to ask you, how did you like your experience working with us?
Loved it. Loved it. It was the first time I got to fly, you know, after all the pandemic stuff. So that was really cool. And then just the way you guys have it set up. I mean, I think it's very well done. I think it's such a cool product. You guys are doing some really cool stuff. So when you guys first called me about doing it, I was honored. I'm like, wow, because I've gotten so many boxes from different people over the years that I admire. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe they're doing one, for my company. So
yeah, I loved your products. When I first came on the team, they like gave me a bunch of different merch that we've worked with a bunch of different companies, but I use the fanny pack all the time.
Nice. I love that.
All the time. I love it. So
yeah,
that's
cool.
But, this podcast is brought to you by Gainz Box, the fittest subscription box. Gainz Box is a quarterly fitness subscription box that has apparel, supplements, and equipment created for the sport of fitness. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of like the quotes that you say a lot of the time, I noticed like on your website and stuff, like fitness is my religion, the gym is my church. How did you come up with that?
Well, because I kind of got to a point where my family get super religious, and they were always like, "Oh, come to church, come to," and I'm like, I hated going, and I kind of felt like, this is where I found serenity. This is where I felt good, was at the gym. So this is where I feel like people could get more out of life than just listen to the same old bullshit. It's like, I don't denounce being raised a certain way, but at the same time, it's like, to me, I've made more people happy here than at church,
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
Yeah. So it was kind of popped in my head one day. I just felt that way. I was like, my mom would be like, "Oh, come to church, come to church." I'm like, I'm going to the gym. I'm like, that's where I like going. Oh. Yeah. So it kind of just popped in my head one day. It was just, I always say like genius comes from necessity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think people are always like, "Oh, how'd you come up with this?" or "How'd you come up with that?" It's kind of, when you're in this shit long enough, you kind of just come up with stuff. So
yeah, exactly. So did fitness or TV come first?
Fitness came first. I don't think they would ever have me on TV had I not.
Had you not?
Yeah.
So after going on TV and stuff, is that when you started to get a lot of collabs with like big brands like Reebok, Under Armour, and stuff like that? And
yeah. So a lot of that stuff. I started getting into shape, and I started to enjoy it. And after being on television and stuff, I kind of got some notoriety. I was around. Oh shit! I was around before social media was really a thing. I had gotten on television pretty early on.
Mm-hmm.
And nice job, boys. Nice job. I got the team here helping me out. I don't know if you guys are going to use some video.
Yeah, labor of love for one season.
But I got
a little bit. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So this is it.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That looks really cool.
So I got on television. Yeah. And you know what it was? At first, I just wanted to work with brands that I was already using their shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started working on reaching out to different companies that I liked and getting an email from like the marketing team at Reebok or something. And that's when CrossFit first started to get big. I mean, I started working with Reebok in like 2012, maybe 2013.
Oh yeah, that's like right at the start of like Instagram, social media, like
Yeah.
right.
So there wasn't a lot going on. I always make the joke. I was like, I had more of a following on Twitter and Facebook than Rich Froning and CrossFit combined.
Yeah.
I was like relevant before everything. And then I slowly saw everybody kind of rising up, and I saw so many of these companies, or so many of these people becoming bigger and bigger. And like CrossFit was, when I told people I first did CrossFit, they were like, what the hell is CrossFit?
Yeah,
So,
like what is that? And now
yeah, and now it's like a household
thing.
name.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone knows what CrossFit is.
Yeah. But I had joined CrossFit NYC here in the city pretty early on. And one of the things that I realized was that CrossFit taught me how to power clean the right way, because all through high school and college, they would definitely show us the wrong way to do a lot of that shit.
Yeah,
it's just like
the fitness
reverse clean 100 to 200 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What's your favorite role you play? Like a business owner, trainer, coach, host? What's your favorite role?
I would say kind of just, I don't know what it would be called, but kind of just figuring shit out. I wouldn't say much of a business owner, because I hate doing the business end of things.
Yeah.
I'm not very good. I pay a young lady who kind of handles scheduling for me. Like, everybody's like, well, you have an assistant. I'm like, yeah, you remember? I read a book years ago. It was Mark Cuban's book. Mm-hmm. And he said he hired a personal assistant in college to do like all the stuff he hated doing that he was bad at. So I was like, fuck it. I hired a girl who, she needed a job, and I wanted to help her out. And, was doing okay at the time. So I was like, yeah, come help me, do all this stuff. And she's great at it. She's super organized. I'm fucking terrible at that stuff. So she helps me stay organized and on top of shit.
That's great that you can capitalize on your strengths and then have someone else handle your weaknesses.
Exactly. And I'm more like big picture. Like I think of, she keeps the logistics going for the business, and it's like we have the Strong New York brand, we have the gym, and we have a couple other, ventures that I have going on. And she kind of, juggles all that for me.
Yeah.
Which allows me to think of bigger things, like just fucking shit. I want to, like, I have stupid, crazy ideas all the time that I'll throw money at or try to figure out. So it allows me to kind of be the problem solver. So that's the role I like the most, like being a problem solver. But the role I really want to have is like, and I think a lot of people have this, I remember hearing about MC Hammer early on when he had started making money. He was worth like $30 million at one point. And he was just like helping out all his friends and his family and giving everybody jobs and stuff. The problem with that is you start to get into the, you start overextending yourself. But like being able to help people out is like ideal for me. Like I want to be able to make enough and do enough so that I can give all my friends and family jobs and help people out when I can. I think everybody wants to do that. Like when people are like, oh, this one, I'm like, I think everybody wants to help people out. If you don't want to help people out, there's something fucked up.
Something wrong with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone that's just starting out with fitness, or that maybe was a former fat kid that just like doesn't know where to start? What advice would you give them?
I think with a lot of people, you just have to, as cliche and stupid as it sounds, it's like, just keep going, right? Like you're going to get discouraged. You're going to get shit on. You're going to get, told you're not good enough. You're going to be told that, whatever you want to do isn't going to work. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's like, if you keep plugging away, you can't stop the guy who refuses to stay down.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you keep getting up, it's like, you're going to be shit on. But if you really want to do something, you'll get it done. So I tell everybody, just keep going. If that's what you really want to do, just do it. So somebody's going to notice you. Somebody's going to be so good that no one can deny it. And there's times when I'm like, oh, I want to be at that, or I want to be able to do this. It's like, all right, well, that's on me to figure out how I get so good that people want me a part of that team,
Exactly. Cool. So where can our viewers find you on social media? Find Strong New York on social media?
So at Strong New York is the brand, and we have some really cool shirts, and we're doing some cool collabs with different companies. At the Strength Club NYC is our Instagram, and if you want to come take a class or book some lessons here at the Strength Club, and we rent out the space as well. So any trainers out there who are looking for space, I rent out the space for group classes. I actually have some guys here now to chat about that. And then me, I'm just at Kenny Santucci. Pretty simple. I'm an old soul, so I don't really mess around with TikTok as much. I've been trying to become a TikTok star, but it's not working out as well as I thought it would.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard. And some people make it seem so easy.
It's the new generation, the really young kids. They're the ones who are making it look easy, I think.
Oh my God, they're crushing. It's like, and another piece of advice I'd give to a lot of people is like, don't sleep on the younger kids. Everybody thinks like they don't have experience and stuff, but there's a whole new world of people coming up who, older people can learn from. Like I have some younger kids here who come and work out and hang out, and I'm constantly learning from them.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to learn from somebody younger than you.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of The Gainz. Join us weekly for new episodes and special guests. Make sure to head over to thegainzbox.com or Gainzbox on Instagram to get yourself a Gainzbox today.